Hi, it's time for a horror book review, this time for The Summer Fun Massacre by Craig DiLouie. I'm finally getting better after being sick in bed for a week. Still a work in progress in that I cannot do anything still without being very out of breath. But you know what? We're getting better. We're happy for our health and we move on. But I did want to talk about the one book I was able to read while being sick. For the first few days, was not able to do anything. Fever, body chills, etc. It was rough. But I thought, what better to pick up my spirits in this arc that I had of The Summer Fun Massacre by Craig DiLouie, which this is the first book that I've read by him. I had started episode 13 on audiobook and just it was not it was not working for me in audio format. It was something that I felt like I needed to read with my eyeballs, but was like I think enjoying as far as that had gone. But I love a slasher, and I especially love like a very ambiance filled summer camp slasher. And although it is not summer here, it is coming quickly upon winter. I thought this will lift my spirits. This is definitely the read that is going to just put me in the best mood possible while being sick. Unfortunately, this is not really a summer camp slasher. I know that you can't tell in black and white, but this book cover is absolutely gorgeous. It is giving like heavy summer camp ambiance and, very saturated and evoking those summer camp slasher movies, as well as, the title and the description for the book were all revolving around this cycle of violence that was these reoccurring summer camp massacres. This is not a spoiler for the book at all, is the author's note at the end, which I think would have been very valuable information to have at the beginning of the story, is about that it is like not really wanting to be a slasher, that it is about telling the story from the point of view of a well-meaning cop, someone like Dewey in Scream, that is like just trying their best and trying to do their job while these horrific things are happening. I think that's really interesting. I think that is a very fresh take, and I think that that could have gone really well and should have been very interesting. However, I still think that it would have been an appropriate expectation to have before it started is that the slasher has already happened. Like the massacre has already happened at the beginning of the book. That's not going to happen during the book. So if you're looking for that, it's not going to happen. It's already happened. And so then we see Tom, who is our Dewey character in this book, trying to figure out, who did it. That there is like one sole survivor, and she's saying things that don't make sense about the hungry hair folk horror urban legend character having been responsible. And he's just like, that doesn't make any sense. Let me do this police procedural to figure out who actually did it. And so that is what the book is revolving around, is him doing this police procedural to figure out who is actually guilty and not this urban legend character having done it. And so we have Tom, he's our main character. We also have Marigold, Mary, he calls her, that she was like the sole survivor in a previous summer camp massacre and was like his high school girlfriend at the time. So he had a relationship with her and they're kind of like reconnecting now that there's like this new mystery that he's trying to figure out. However, there wasn't really any interesting detective work to be done in the story. That it is like him just like hanging out in the police cop shop, and just talking in copy ways to the other cops, and all of them have very indistinct interchangeable voices. None of the characters really stood out. Like there is like a suspicious sheriff character, but other than that, like they are basically all the same person, and information just gets dropped in his lap. And does it actually create any meaningful discoveries? Is there any tension? There wasn't for me. And Tom also was just like not an interesting character, which, you would think if you were wanting to like reinvent the idea of the Dewey character, he would have like some inner workings or some actual level of interest other than just being a background character with the development of a background character, but you're just spending a lot of time with them. At the best of times, I really don't enjoy reading stories about cops, but I really need it to have like some sort of mystery or detective work to be done to kind of get on board with it. Like I can get on board with like a really good detective story, but there was also just like so much page time, maybe the most page time dedicated to like the career politics of these different cops, like who's going to run for sheriff, who's going to be the new police chief, and like I just didn't care. It had nothing to do with the story that was suggested was going to be the story. Like I'm not saying that you, if that is your desire to write a story about the inner workings of career politics of cops, like go for it, but it's not a summer camp slasher. Like it was just a different story. It also just like wasn't told in an interesting way because again, the character voices were very indistinct from each other. So who do I care who is sheriff or police chief or whatever? Like why would I care? And it's really a shame because there is like 5 pages of retelling what happened at the massacre, that has already happened at the beginning of the story. That is great. It like really scratches that itch that you want out of a slasher. It is awesome. You don't get that again until like the last 10% of the book. You get literally like 5 pages again. And there's also this really interesting hungry hare urban legend character that is referenced throughout the book but not developed in any sort of way. It's just like, oh yeah, they both said that it was this hungry hare character that did these murders, my ex-girlfriend and this new girl, and well, that doesn't make any sense, and I'm not going to be developing the lore any, and I'm not going to be interviewing other people. Like I'm never going to hear other stories about this character from people around the town. Like you don't get any new perspectives on that from anyone else. It's like just like these two survivor girls are like, yeah, this guy wearing this weird hair mask did it. And I love that. I love a creepy mask. I think that that was so interesting. Like I wanted that story. Like you're telling me you want to reinvent the slasher, but the story that you're trying to reinvent, like that one actually sounded more interesting, and I wish you would have just told it in a regular way because the reinvention didn't really do anything here. So unfortunately, this one was not a winner for me, and it's just like disappointing because I would have loved the story that it was trying not to tell because it wanted to tell a different story that um both wasn't the expectations set by the cover, title, and synopsis, as well as I just don't think that it was interesting. So you can subvert my expectations, but don't be boring when you do it. Anyway, I think this was just a miss. Like, I don't think that the writing at the sentence level was bad. Like, it's not like I will never try a Craig DiLouie book again. But yeah, I think if you're really wanting a summer camp slasher, like if you were like saving this for Summerween or something like that, I don't think that that would be the time to read it. Like, I don't think you should put all your bets on that unless you just want to read about some cops that are really never at the summer camp. They're just like at the police station all the time. But thank you for listening to me, and I hope you check this out if that synopsis does sound interesting to you. If you think that would work for you, then I'm happy for this to be a great book for someone else. But until next time, I will talk to you later. Bye.